to be fixed, and I don't give a damn if I get fined because that shit cheap, and I am tired of the shit. Because I've been nice and I've been humble with it, but I am tired of the shit.
Back a little bit. You can't want to be the villain. You can't pride yourself in being the villain, and then you lose, and all of a sudden you succumb to those emotions.
Everyone thinks Stephen A. Smith simply roasted Angel Reese for her on-court behavior. But what he actually exposed is a catastrophic multi-million-dollar miscalculation that goes far beyond a single player. In the next 7 minutes, you will learn the one statistic that proves this isn't just about a rivalry, but about a foundational crisis that could stunt the growth of the entire WNBA. What we're witnessing isn't just a player's meltdown. It's the potential unraveling of the league's golden opportunity, and the evidence has been hiding in plain sight all.
Clearly, it's something that a lot of people can't take. So if it's something that you can't take, maybe you shouldn't expose yourself to the backlash.
This story isn't just for basketball fans. It's for anyone who has ever seen immense potential squandered by ego and a stunning lack of self-awareness. The battle between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark has been framed as a simple rivalry, but it has become something far more consequential. We're going to dissect the 3 key events that led to Stephen A. Quote as brutal on-air takedown. The shocking clipboard incident that nobody is supposed to talk about. The bizarre reason behind her no-show against the Fever. And the financial numbers so damning they call her entire brand into question. This isn't just about winning or losing games.
What's not debatable is the fact that Caitlin Clark has handled her branding extremely well. Whereas with Angel Reese, sometimes you find yourself scratching your head and wondering what the hell she's doing. Like that photo right there.
By the time we get to paragraph 9, you will understand exactly why major sponsors are reportedly getting nervous, and it has nothing to do with her stat line. I promise you, the details of her confrontation with the team executive are more shocking than the initial reports led on. We'll expose the social media posts she used to double down, turning a moment of disrespect into a viral spectacle of defiance. This is a masterclass in how to alienate a team, a league, and a fan base, all in the span of a few weeks.
It's not about black and white. It's about that white player and that black player. Why? Because of the history that they had before they came.
But before the on-court chaos boiled over, the warning signs were already there. Let's start with the Chicago Sky's record. A dismal 5-13 that has them scraping the bottom of the league barrel. While many defenders point to Reese's impressive individual numbers, Stephen A. Smith's core argument is that those stats are becoming increasingly hollow. You can score 20 points and grab 10 rebounds a night, but if your team is in a death spiral, losing 7 of their last 10...
The Chicago Sky stink. They stink. I don't really know why they stink, because I liked a lot of these players.
This is where the narrative begins to curdle. The frustration was palpable, but what happened next was something no one could have predicted. During a tight game against the Washington Mystics, a moment that should have been about strategy became a flashpoint of controversy. After a series of plays left the game on a knife's edge, the team headed to the bench for a timeout. Ann Crosby, the Sky's respected vice president of basketball operations, approached the huddle with a clipboard, ready to draw up a game-winning play. What we
The best, but that has to be fixed, and I don't give a damn if I get fined because that's cheap, and I am tired of the shit. Because I've been nice and I've been humble with it, but I am tired of the shit.
In a move that many have interpreted as a shocking display of disrespect, Angel Reese was seen smacking the clipboard directly out of the executive's hands. This wasn't a private locker room disagreement. This was on the court in front of cameras for the entire world to see. It wasn't a player getting heated with a coach in the flow of the game. It was a public dismissal of a high-ranking team official. This single action became a perfect, devastating metaphor for the chaos that has defined her season. It was a visual...
If Angel Reese had never waved her hand in her face when LSU was beating Iowa for in the Final Four of the national championship, if that hadn't happened, Angel Reese's name might not be as big. Yes.
And that was just the beginning of the problem. Instead of letting the moment pass or handling it internally, Reese took to social media, not with an apology, but with a defiant justification. She posted, "Those Pike were pissing me off," followed by laughing emojis, essentially turning an act of perceived insubordination into a public joke. Based on publicly available information, this move was seen by many critics as PR suicide. It signaled a complete lack of accountability and a failure to understand the severity of disrespecting your...
Should be criticized, or she is wrong. What I'm saying is, by pulling it down, clearly you felt there was something wrong.
Now we can reveal why this incident, combined with others, has sponsors allegedly on high alert. Brands invest in athletes who represent leadership, resilience, and positive brand association. What they are seeing from Reese, according to analysts like Stephen A. Kent, is a pattern of behavior that screams liability. The clipboard slap wasn't an isolated incident. Less than 48 hours earlier, she had gone on a profanity-laced tirade against WNBA.
Yeah, I think we fought really hard. It's tough when you talk to officials and I asked them, hey, we only shot 2 free throws. We've only been to the free throw line twice up into the fourth quarter, and she tells me it's not her job. So I know it's frustrating because I know how hard.
You can't build a stable brand on a foundation of constant controversy. And this is where Stephen A. Smith's analysis becomes so potent. He labeled her America's next jealous teammate, a nickname that cuts to the core of the issue. The perception is that she's more focused on her rivalry with Caitlin Clark and her personal frustrations than on leading the Chicago Sky. She's chasing headlines for all the wrong reasons. And in the world of professional sports,
Would have been traded last week. Is she going to play this season? Probably not. Probably not. Like, you're not going to risk someone for a back injury to come back when they're not going to make the playoffs. You're not going to do that. I'm going to be honest. Like, there's no way.
every time she creates a negative headline, she's not just damaging her own brand. She's handing a perfect weapon to her critics. While she's generating drama, her biggest rival is generating something else entirely, unprecedented revenue and viewership for the entire league. This is the moment where Stephen A. Smith's argument transitions from a critique into a full-blown indictment, and the numbers are simply staggering. This is the part of the story that nobody in Reese's camp wants to talk about.
Maybe they're waiting for the, for the WNBA draft. Maybe they're just going to say, you know what, we're going to go and trade.
Now for the flamethrower. Stephen A. Smith didn't just criticize Reese. He held up Caitlin Clark as the ultimate contrast, and he came armed with receipts. Games featuring Caitlin Clark this season are averaging a jaw-dropping 1.178 million viewers. For games without her, that number plummets to just 394,000. That is not a small dip, it is a threefold decrease in audience. Clark isn't just a star player. She is the economic engine currently
I like about the backlash. Clearly, it's something that a lot of people can't take. So if it's something that you can't take, maybe you shouldn't expose yourself to the backlash and provoking the backlash.
This viewership data is the undeniable proof of Clark's impact. Ticket prices surge, merchandise sales skyrocket, and social media engagement goes into overdrive every single time she steps on the court. She is, as Stephen H. so bluntly put it, the golden goose. The logical move for every player in the league would be to protect and elevate the person bringing in all this new attention and money. A rising tide after all.
But if y'all don't give us what we want, we sit out.
That's a possibility.
Then are you willing to admit how stupid it was for y'all not to go all in and elevate Caitlin Clark?
However, from what we have observed, Reese and a few others have chosen a different path. The on-court aggression toward Clark, particularly the flagrant foul by Chennedy Carter that Reese was seen celebrating, has been interpreted by millions as petty and counterproductive. Instead of riding the wave of Clark's popularity, they appear to be actively trying to capsize the boat. Stephen A. Quote, S. point was clear. You're not competing with the Golden Goose.
Her, me, Ariel, I know we belong to Austin. Thank you.
This brings us to the mysterious no-show in Indiana. The official reason for Angel Reese's absence against the Fever was a back injury, a perfectly plausible explanation in a grueling season. However, the context surrounding this absence fueled a firestorm of speculation that the team could not control. Viewers were left wondering if there was more to the story, especially given the history at that specific arena.
Listen, she's a beautiful young lady, and there's a lot of beautiful young ladies in the WNBA. But when you do that, you can't come down the line and complain about being objectified.
Let's not forget, this is the same Gainbridge Fieldhouse that Reese had previously labeled as an unsafe environment for her. And the reason for this claim? It turned out to be a bizarre incident involving what was described as a yodeling fan or a strange animal noise from the crowd. Instead of dismissing it as a random weird moment, she amplified it, creating a narrative of persecution that didn't seem to align with the reality of the situation. So when she was suddenly absent from that very arena, the public connected the dots, whether fairly or not.
And when you do stuff like that, and you're drawing attention to yourself because of that, that can be problematic for you.
The speculation alone was damaging, feeding into the idea that she was avoiding a difficult matchup or a hostile environment she had helped create. This is where the trade rumors, once a whisper, began to gain serious traction. When a star player becomes the center of constant drama, is perceived as a negative influence in the locker room, and is associated with a losing culture, front offices start to consider their options. Is the talent worth the headache?
So therefore, even more attention could have come and y'all could have reaped the benefits. Higher television ratings, higher attendance figures. Ladies and gentlemen, that doesn't come courtesy of a league. It comes courtesy of the players that play in the league. And in her case, she was the most popular, which means she could have helped your bottom line, which means you should have seen that from day one and maximized it.
And this is where Stephen M. Smith lands his final devastating blow. He frames Reese not just as a problematic player, but as a walking cautionary tale. He roasts her as someone who is famous for everything except winning. Her headlines aren't about clutch shots or leading her team to victory. They're about ejections, tantrums, social media spats, and disrespecting officials and executives. She is
To get better, obviously, we've had up and down games, but we're all-stars. And we're going to continue to prove it. Obviously, this is the last week for all-star voting. Camilla, she should be all-stars her first year. She could have got it last year with injury, but she should be an all-star this year.
The most crucial part of this analysis is the idea of discipline. Talent alone has never been enough to guarantee success in professional sports. Without discipline, focus, and the ability to be a cohesive part of a team, talent becomes a liability. For all her skill on the court, Reese is proving this point. Week after week, she is providing a live-action tutorial for every young athlete on how quickly public goodwill can evaporate and how hype can transform.
In doing the things that she has done, let's face reality. She's going to be attached to Caitlin Clark to some degree.
The contrast with Clark's handling of her own brand could not be more stark. While Clark faces immense pressure, she remains focused on the game, delivering diplomatic answers and letting her performance speak for itself. She understands that her brand is built on excellence and poise. Meanwhile, Reese's brand is becoming synonymous with chaos. This isn't about black or white. As Stephen A.
A lot of the things when it comes to the Chicago Sky, like it's just been an absolute disaster for them. I don't think
The final verdict from Stephen A. was a cold, hard warning to Reese and anyone else following her lead. Get on board the train or get run over by it. The Caitlin Clark phenomenon is a once-in-a-generation opportunity for the WNBA. It's a golden moment to elevate the league to unprecedented heights. You either contribute to that momentum or you become a footnote in the story of its success. A story that will be told.
Take us through the flagrant foul from your perspective, just what you saw in that play, how you interpreted what happened.
Basketball play, refs got it right. Move on.
Ultimately, Angel Reese is at a critical crossroads. She can continue down this path of self-sabotage, proving her critics right at every turn, or she can have a moment of profound self-reflection. She could choose to channel her fierce competitiveness into winning basketball games instead of Twitter arguments. She could become the leader the Chicago Sky desperately need, rather than their biggest distraction. The talent is there.
Issue because she deleted her Instagram, and that's the most important part about all of this, because clearly she's uncomfortable with some of the backlash that she's getting because she deleted her.
The league, the fans, and even her own team are watching. Every action is being scrutinized. Every post is being analyzed. The question is no longer about whether she can put up numbers. The question is whether she can grow up, handle the pressure with professionalism, and become the superstar she was projected to be. If not, she risks being remembered not as a great player, but as a great talent who let drama derail her destiny. A story Stephen